What up, everybody? How we all doing today? It is the Transformer Slag podcast live stream Saturday night main event. How we all doing? It was a busy week for me. A lot of news, a lot of stuff. The only thing that wasn't busy was the toy hunting this weekend was brutal. Not good at all. Not good at all. Just today, I'm not wearing any Symbiote Studio shirts. My Montreal Canadiens are probably the furthest they've ever been since 1993 in the hockey playoffs. And since I'm Canadian, gotta wear my stripes. So, needless to say, the best. Yeah. How we all doing? So we're gonna jump into some news, like always. We're gonna jump into some news. I have one thing that I got this week. Nothing too special. The toy hunt was just terrible this whole week. The whole week it was just garbo, but I found one interesting product, and I know some people will appreciate it a little bit. So we'll get into that. And the one good thing is I have a little bit of Montreal-related Transformers the movie news we could talk about, because I was on the set yet again, clicking some photos and NDAs and stuff like that. So we'll get into that also. So let's jump into the first piece of news today, my friends, and it is that of Niantic, the creators of Pokemon Go, and their big announcement that they will be making a Transformers version, or a facsimile, if you will, of Pokemon Go. But with Transformers. Now, how this is going to be done, I don't know. It looks kind of more like a turn-based kind of RPG beat-em-up kind of thing going on with a Pokemon Go flavor to it. Who knows how this is going to be done, but I'm excited. But when Pokemon Go was first announced all those years ago, and they talked about the company, and they were saying like how Ingress was kind of like the skeleton of what Pokemon Go would be. It was a game that came out before Pokemon Go by Niantic. I downloaded Ingress to get an idea of how, that would be. And I feel that, again, it's that same kind of AR skeleton idea with walking around is going to be kind of cool. Would it be kind of cool to go near some watery areas of your city and finding, I don't know, tidal wave or sea spray? I don't know how they're going to do this, to be honest. I will say this. People didn't talk about this in the news, but I'm surprised they didn't. But Flint Dille, a.k.a. Mr. Transformers the 86 movie himself, has been working for Niantic since I think like 6 years now. And he's going to be behind this in some shape or form. So I'm fairly confident that this will do very well. Because, one of the main creative dudes behind Pokemon Go is one of the main creative dudes behind the Transformers 1986 movie. So when you take those two things together, I think I'm down. Again, I love Pokemon Go when it came out. I literally was playing it nonstop until maybe just before the big V hit in early 2020. I was still playing it. And it's crazy. Alice Trapp, I wonder what Proto thinks of Pokemon in general. I love Pokemon. I was, I don't want to sound like a hipster, but like I was a guy who was really big in the emulation scene back in the late 90s. And when Pokemon was just this little Game Boy game that was only exclusive to Japan that was available back then, I downloaded the ROMs of green and red, because there was no red and blue. It was green and red. And, the translation for Charmander was called Lizzie. That's like literally what they called it in the emulation early days. And I loved it back then. I have a mint in box, red and blue, because I bought those games day one. I got all that stuff. Tons of Pokemon merch. I'm a big fan of Pokemon. Mostly because I was just one of those early guys to get into the franchise before it even came out in America. Just thought it was interesting because I love RPGs and stuff. Reminded me a little bit of Earthbound, another franchise that I liked. Ness and Ash kind of had a similar look. But I get all the new games every so often. The only ones that I haven't gotten recently are the more Switch-based games. I haven't had time to really pick those up because I just never had time to play them. But literally up until Sun and Moon and X and Y, I was buying all the brand new ones. If you look on, you just look on my Instagram or my Twitter, you'll see that I still once in a while post that stuff. But yeah, hope that answers that question. But yeah, so this is going to be something that's going to be coming at some point. I mean, I'm fairly excited about it. I'm really curious how they're going to do it, and what's going to be happening with that. I am really curious how they're going to go about it, because, you know, like some people are like, oh, it's only going to be Autobots, and I'm like, well, you know what? When Pokemon Go first started, there was no factions either, and that was something that was added as an update later, where you could pick like one of the 3 different color factions. So I'm pretty sure Decepticons will be an option later. I'm pretty sure that just like any, you know, mobile game, it's a slow kind of rollout. And if it's Niantic, I mean, there's no better company I'd have more confidence than Niantic if they're doing something like this. Really. I mean, think about it. Like, Pokemon Go has been going strong nonstop for a long while now. And it still has its audience. It still has its events. So if they're going to have the Transformer brand and do the same thing, I'm pretty confident. Much like when High Moon did the War for Cybertron games and stuff, and they were really big fans, and we got some good product. I'm confident. And again, Flint Dilley being part of it, what more can I ask for? Stinkfist says here, do you have a debit card? And my family doesn't support my toy collection either, but I don't care. Collect what you like. Do you have a debit card? Well, of course I have a debit card. Financially, I am very good at that. There's a reason why I do Transformer finance videos. I'm very good with money. Let's put it this way. Debit card is the least of the things I have. You know, I have many bank accounts, and I do a lot of financial stuff to have a good... But who cares if your family doesn't support the toy collecting? You know, it's what makes you happy. The one thing I always say is, if you spend your whole life trying to make someone else happy, you're going to spend your whole life not being happy. And that's just something you should never chase, my friend. Look, I've had ex-girlfriends that hated Transformers, and they got the kick from me because they were just not useful in the grand scheme of things. This stuff makes me very happy. Let me tell you, it really does. It really does. Let's see what else we have here. I love that Niantic lets you transfer Yeah, and again, like there's something going on with that company that I'm really confident. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Next up news, I just want to talk about this quickly, and it's Modern Icon's little Megatron helmet that they're putting out. I already talked about it earlier this week. What is up, Larry? I already talked about it earlier this week on the podcast, but I just wanted to like show some updated images that they posted, specifically like, you know, some different shots of the glowing helmet and everything. I mean, look, it looks really cool. I dig it. It's just I'm not a fan of, like, you know, how the progress of helmet value has been throughout the years. I mean, you know, top middle there, the original 2007 Optimus Prime helmet, you know, that was $39.99, and then it became $49.99 when they repackaged it in Revenge of the Fallen around the same time that they released the Bumblebee helmet on the top right. And then they took that Optimus helmet, they retooled it. It has the same electronics, the same gimmicks, and then they charged $100 for it when it became Dark Age of Extinction on the bottom right. And now we have this one, you know, and this one here, I like it. And you know what's interesting? I posted these on my Instagram, and the guy who did the sculpting and creating these contacted me and left a comment on my Instagram. So if you want to give him some positive vibes, just check through the comments of my Instagram post. He was on there. So, I mean, it looks cool. I think it looks way better than the Optimus. The Optimus I'm not a fan of at all. I don't know. It just looks weird. But the Megatron really has, you know, that character model is pretty on. Pretty on. I like even the eyebrows, the old bucket head. I dig it. Dig it a lot. Looks really good. Looks really, 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 really good. I like it. I mean, if it wasn't like I think it's $109.99, it's going to be a GameStop exclusive. If it wasn't $100, I don't know. I'd probably get it. Maybe when it goes on clearance, because this kind of stuff always kind of goes on red tag clearance at GameStop. Maybe when it goes on clearance, I'll snag it or something. But we'll see. We will see. We will see. Let's see. Next up, we have some Studio Series news, and it's also some updated images. And it's that of the Studio Series Bumblebee, Voyager Class, Seeker Generic, Thrust, and we have some updated images here too. Apparently, the guy who did the photo shoot listens to the podcast and took some photos in relation to what I was prattling on about, because I mentioned how it's a semi-cone head and it's green, so it reminds me of Armada Thrust. And what did he do? He took a photo with Armada Thrust. He also took a photo of the alt mode, because I made a mention of that, and then a side-by-side comparison to the Blitzwing head. So on the bottom right there, you have the top is the Thrust head, the bottom one is the Blitzwing mold's head, so there is a slight paint difference, but it is the same sculpt otherwise. I mean, I think it looks cool. I dig it. I like that it's still kind of a different mold. It really is, at the end of the day, it's like it's an Acid Storm color or an Armada Thrust color, because it's a cone head or a cone hood in this case. I guess they're called cone hoods. I don't know. But I think it's cool. I like it. This one gets me more excited than even the Starscream. I don't know why. Just because it's a little more unique, I guess. After you buy so many Starscreams, when you get something that's a little different, it's more exciting. I don't know. I like it. I like Thrust. I think he looks cool. And when I finally do get this guy, I'll take a photo with all the other green Thrusts, like the different Armada ones and stuff like that. That'll be a nice little photo shoot. But I dig it. I don't know what else people thinks of it, but I think it's cool. And again, the fact that they resculpted the back hood and made the little cone head thing, the fact that it has the shoulders, the little shoulder cannon things, even though they're slightly different than the Starscream one, there still is a little bit of a difference there, which I appreciate. I dig it. I think it looks cool. Next up, we're going to talk about some fake news and then some real news. So last week, we covered this fake image that was going around of the Walgreens Deluxe Class Kingdom Red Alert. And the fake image had so much traction that even the pre-order websites for a Filipino Transformer website was using that fake image. Guys, again, if you see the one there in the little box at the bottom, someone just took the Earth mode Kingdom sideswipe, they photoshopped it into Red Alert, and the rest was history, and people fell for it. We finally have some actual images of how it looks today, a box room photo shoot, if you will, beat up box, so we get to see how the box looks and everything. And if you could notice, if you look very carefully, the black shoulders from the Photoshop are wrong. You see that it has white shoulders on the actual product there. The Autobot logo is a little more muted, doesn't have the white highlights on it. I mean, there's similarities between the Photoshop, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you're copying the deco of the 1985 Red Alert, there's only so much that you could really play around with your fake photo shoot version. So, for people that aren't aware, it's going to be a Walgreens exclusive. It's going to be available in August of 2021. It's actually going to be available before the Sideswipe version, which is going to be available in September. So you're technically going to own the first version of this Earth mode if you buy this one before the Sideswipe. They're going to be sold in solid 8 cases. So meaning like a case will have 8 of them, and they will only be Red Alerts. And there will be an MSRP of $22.99, $23. So the good thing is they probably won't be too difficult to get. Obviously, some places have different, foot traffic and might not have as many Walgreens. But in general, it shouldn't be too difficult to get. I know that when the Ratchet first came out a while back, they were plentiful. When the cone heads came, not the cone heads, the clones came out, they were very plentiful. So this really shouldn't be an issue. And this is coming from a guy that, again, we don't have Walgreens in Canada. This is probably going to be an EB Games exclusive for us because historically all the Walgreens exclusives have showed up in Canada at EB Games, so that's how it'll work for us. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens, but still pretty cool. Now for some weird news. Some weird stuff. This is Loot Crate. So Loot Crate is back on the bandwagon doing Transformer stuff. This is their Loot Crate DX. Not a big fan of Loot Crate, to be honest. Loot Crate has been one of those companies where I've always felt they always put junk in their little boxes, and it's really not worth it. And if you learn the history of how Loot Crate was created, I don't want to get too much into it, but it was pretty much a guy who acknowledged, like, this is made for morons. The best way to put it. That's literally the backhanded way the creator of Loot Crate was pretty much saying it. was just like, it's not made for hardcore fans that know what they're doing. It's more for just casual fans. Like, and this is aimed at probably casual Transformer fans too. And this is part of their DX line, which is essentially their larger, more expensive loot crates. I believe last I checked, the old loot crates were $13.99 a month. Their DX ones are $50 a month. And I'm going to give you guys a warning because I've been screwed with Loot Crate in the past too, which also adds to my displeasure with them. You sign up and you could even say, I only want to get just this month's Loot Crate. If you don't actually go into the website after you get your crate in the mail and cancel physically, they're going to send you another one and charge your credit card. And they've had 2 different Loot Crates related to Transformers in the past. That's the only reason why I got Loot Crate. And both times they tried to get money out of me. It's absolutely nuts. Even after you cancel, even if you say you only want to be there for 1 month, they're still going to try to charge you for a second month. So be careful with that. This is the Rise Up theme. It's mixed with a whole bunch of other properties. So you're going to get this Optimus Prime, this 5-inch Optimus Prime figure with 4 points of articulation, pretty much the 2 wrists and the head. It is channeling some major Pat Lee vibes. I mean, anyone who saw my Twitter post, I'm just getting that same energy there, like I said before. Very similar to Pat Lee's design. So, I mean, if you're a really big fan of Dreamwave, I mean, I guess from some angles, this would actually be kind of cool. They kind of screwed up, though, because they make him look like he's pointing, but in the wrong way in the art. They should have, I don't know. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this at all. But either way, if you are interested, the Rise Up theme will be available to order between the 19th of June until the 19th of July. It ends at midnight. And yeah, if you're interested, $50. And you get a whole bunch of other junk in there too. I'm pretty sure at some point, maybe someone will get this box and they'll want to get rid of their little Optimus, and I'll pick it up on the cheap. Hopefully. Next up, so last week we talked about the Transformer Dinobot Adventures. Hasbro has rebranded the Rescue Bots line. There is no more Rescue Bots, at least for the immediate time being. They're essentially their play school or preschool based line. Will, for the time being, will be called Transformers Dinobot Adventures. And it'll consist primarily, not completely, but primarily of repaints of pre-existing dinosaur-based Rescue Bot toys. If you see in the middle there's some examples of stuff that were taken from the Rescan line in 2014 and the Rescue Bots Academy line in 2019. So there's a few things here and there, but we were shown some new stuff today, and it is that of the mini dinos. Now, the mini dinos, which are in the middle, are pretty much, if you look on the left there, they're just repaints also of the Rescue Bot dinos, which were based off of Heatwave, Boulder, Chase, and Blades. And that's the unfortunate thing, is these dinos, despite the fact that they're going to have Generation 1 color schemes and will be called Generation 1 characters, you have Dinobot Sludge, Dinobot Slug, aka Slag, Dinobot Snarl, and Dinobot Swoop. Despite the fact that they're called that, all of them will still have the head sculpt of the characters of Heatwave, Boulder, Chase, and Blades. So, like, especially, like, you can't see it here, but the Sludge is going to have that fireman's hat and everything. So, very interesting to say the least. Either way, I mean, I think they look cute. I own the ones on the left. They're in my Rescue Bots display. They're very quick, one-step kind of auto-transforming kind of stuff. So they're cute. They're tiny. So if you're into Dinobots, it's kind of a cool thing. What's up, Damon? NWO for life, brother. I dig it. They look cool. I'm tempted to get these, even though they're just shallow repaints. And it's kind of funny because now that I think about it, like, these are the G1 repaints. And when you look at now the old Rescue Bot ones, you could consider them like the G2 repaints when you think about it. Because these are like, even though actually the colors wouldn't match up. Oh, no, wait, hold on. Slag did get a green color scheme. But Snarl, I don't think, was ever done in blue. Snarl had maroon, silver, and green only. He never got a blue one. Either way. They look great. I think they look great. I dig them. These are going to be fairly cheap, too. They're very small price point. And they're just cute little G1 kind of flavored stuff. So, pretty cool. Next up, I want to talk about, this is something after the podcast when you're done. Recently, Transformers Generation Guidebook, their 2021 edition, has recently started to hit the doorsteps of many Japanese collectors. And in it is an amazing interview, a really good interview between Yuya Ushini, which is the dude on the left. He was the guy who developed both the MP28 Rodimus as well as the Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. He talks about in this interview his journey going from one to the other and what he learned in between that. Imagine the guy who made those two figures and look at the difference between the two. Also an interview with the legendary Takashi Kuniharu. He talks about designing the very first Hot Rod, the whole crazy stuff going on with creating Unicron, the prototypes. Really good interview. I'm going to link that interview in the replay of this stream. Check in the pinned comment below when I do the replay of this stream, which will probably be like, I guess, after 11 o'clock at night. And of course, tomorrow it'll be live too. So if you're interested in reading this interview, it was recently translated. It's a really interesting interview, and it just talks about how different it is now, how Transformer toys are made from prototype to final form. Really cool stuff. Really, really interesting stuff. It's a very... I love these kind of interviews because it really gives you a good idea of what's going on with Transformers in the world. Now let's talk about Transformers Beast Alliance and what's happening in Montreal right now. So, recently a certain truck has showed up in Montreal. A certain truck that under the skin of it has some red and chrome. So the Beast Alliance movie will feature Mr. G1 Optimus Prime himself. As well, I could talk about this because it's there and people have been talking about it on all the news websites. Bumblebee will be in the movie too, and he is also a certain yellow car. That's all I could say really about that. There is other characters I saw, but they're a little bit more NDA, and we cannot talk about those right now. But they are Beast related. Let's put it this way. The movie will be based in the year 1992. So it's going to be a 90s movie, which is pretty good because Beast Wars was in the 90s. Mind you, it was in 1992. Actually, in 1992 was probably the worst year for Transformers ever because it was in between G1 and G2. So, very weird year. But needless to say, very excited. This is right now in my city, chilling, ready to be filmed. And they even asked, and this is a nice funny photo, they asked local Montrealers if they have any 90s cars that they want to use to be put in the movie. Now, the image here below is the two past cars that I owned from the 90s. There's my AE86 Toyota Corolla and my extremely beat up, how I learned how to drive manual transmission Toyota Tercel 91. So faded that it was almost pink. It was a red one. It was almost pink. Oh, I missed that old clunker. Oof. I sold that for $500. Either way. Look at those. Look at those cars. Look at that full head of hair and that moxie. Anyway, so they're even looking for people who have 90s vehicles to donate to the movie to have in the background to really get that authentic look. A good chunk of the movie is going to be filmed in Montreal, and they're going to be doing it for the next, 9 months or so, supposedly. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. There's so many things that I saw that I was just asked not to take photos and not to talk about, and I want to respect that. But I will say this, there's beasts in the movie, and you will be happy. Let's put it that way. That's all, more or less. That's all I could say, really. I just wanted to just, again, give a shout-out to the sponsors. I'm not wearing the Symbiote Studio shirt today. Just this week, I'm going to wear my Montreal Canadiens. We have a game tomorrow. We got to win. Proto-Man, you should get a cameo in the movie. Man, if I get a cameo in the movie, I have literally done it everything that I could do as a Transformer fan. I got to work for the comics. I got to do stuff with the bios. I got to be on all kinds of different TV shows for Transformers. I think all I need to do is be in the movies now, and I've done everything. That'd be pretty crazy. But yeah. So again, shout out to Symbiote Studios. They're our sponsor for today and every day in awesomeness. Be sure to check out their plush, their pins, and their shirts. I'm not wearing it today, but They're awesome shirts and stuff like that too. SymbioteStudios.com. There's Grimlock back there chilling, saying hello. And of course, my favorite here, the Bumblebee, which comes with the awesome exclusive Bumblebee pin. All the first wave ones come with exclusive pins. If you see under there, all the first wave dudes come with I love the Bumblebee one. I don't know why I love the Bumblebee one so much. I'm not a big Bumblebee guy, but that one just looks so cool. And of course, Wave 2, Grimlock, and Starscream is out. Check it out, $24.99. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And of course, still on shelves until next month, issue number 29 of Transformers War World, the ongoing. That's their current miniseries that's happening right now. And, check out the ad for Symbiote Studios in there with all their cool stuff. Oh, Alex, in relation to Hot Rod's hologram avatar, let's just say that kind of already happened. That's all I'm going to say in relation to that. So before we jump into Super Chat questions, I'm just going to talk about what I got this week. So it was pretty dead. It was pretty dead this week for toy hunting. It was pretty dead. Not a lot of stuff. I got mostly video game stuff and everything like that. But the one thing that I did get, which was cool, and it's incomplete, but it's still pretty cool, was anyone, again, who knows I love Bionicles, Sidorak, which is the female baddie from Bionicles. Got this for $1. Now, obviously, if you notice, she's missing her arm and some of the pieces. Mind you, I have some of them here, which I'm going to have to. I could probably piece together another arm. I'm going to have to get the instructions online. There's obviously little pieces here missing. But this was the first ever, and I think up to this point, the only female villain from Bionicles. So I even gave her like little boobies and stuff. But so this is pretty hype. She goes for good money now. I was surprised. It's very tough to track down some of these Bionicle guys today, years later. But it's pretty hype. Michael Koo says here, in the movie, Proto Man needs a close-up where he points to the beasties and then yells, "Beasts!" No, as a Canadian, I need to point and go, "Beasties," for anyone that knows. Because in Canada, Beast Wars was called Beasties. It was made in Canada. Or better yet, have a scene of the movie where I'm eating chicken McNuggets. I haven't had chicken McNuggets in what feels like forever. There's that BTS thing going on with McDonald's. I'm almost tempted to just go there to try the nugget sauce. I haven't had them in forever. Ever since like the Big V and everything, I haven't gone to fast food in a while. I really would like to. Be really good. I haven't gone to. I'd love to go to sushi again. Oh my God, I haven't gone to sushi in forever. Good old sushi. Either way, we'll do some super chats today, guy, and we'll just relax for the rest of the evening. And then tomorrow I got a busy day. I have Father's Day. So I'm going to go see my pop. I haven't seen him in forever. I'm going to see my mom because her birthday is around the same time too, so we all celebrate it together. Get to see my dogs. I haven't seen my dogs ever since I moved away. I haven't seen all my dogs in forever. Anyone who sees, sometimes I post photos with all my pooches. So here comes the super chats. Let's do the super chats, guys, and we'll rock out. We'll rock out. And same thing, my YouTube members, they also get to ask as many questions as they want. So Downright Superb wants to know, thank you again, Downright Superbs, for the super chats. As always, you're an awesome supporter of the podcast. Do you think the Rescue Pods toy line or the BotBot series will do a good job getting more people into the fandom? Or is there too much of a disconnect? No, I firmly believe that's exactly... Here's the thing. The guys at Hasbro, when Rescue Bots was pretty much germinated, like when it was first created, Aaron Archer and all that crew, they were looking at a big mistake that the WWF, WWE did, which was back in the 90s, the WWE or the WWF at the time were aiming 100% at an older audience, like no kids allowed, 16 plus, 18 plus, and they did that for almost 10 years. 10 years of that. And they realized by the time they got to the end of the ruthless aggression era, they realized that they lost an entire audience. By 2006, 2007, there was this gap of audience because they didn't have kids anymore. Kids were playing Pokemon. They were into, Yu-Gi-Oh, new stuff. They didn't care about wrestling anymore. And they're like, oh my God, we didn't foster a younger audience to grow into it. That's why I never hate on stuff like Rescue Bots or anything like that, because you always have the next generation coming up when the older generations either age out or move out. So they exist for that purpose. And I think that they did a great job. I think that they did work. Number one, Rescue Bots fostered a fusion of Generation 1 flavor with still uniqueness. You know, characters like Heatwave, brand new characters like Chase, even though the trademark of Chase is based off of an old, you can barely see it, but one of the old, actually it's over there, one of the old Throttle Bots. But, you know, it's a new character because it was a police car chase. Blades, another orange helicopter, so technically the Protect-A-Bot. You know, Boulder, it's pretty much Bulkhead, you know. But I think they did a great job. Look, it ran for a while, Rescue Bots. It had more episodes than any Transformer series, when you think about it. So it shows that some people were buying it, and it was doing well. It was doing very well. BotBots? Look, BotBots was created because they were trying to go after that Shopkins audience. BotBots is still selling. People are still buying them and collecting them. They didn't stop it after one wave. There's more and more and more. And the fact that they, after literally 7 series and all kinds of spin-offs and SDCC exclusives and store exclusives, the fact that they're now doing a TV series shows that there's still some kind of momentum. I still firmly believe the TV series was done a little too late. I think they should have done it earlier and really hit the iron while it was hot. Maybe they missed their window. Maybe I could be wrong, but I still feel that both those lines did a really good job, and they still make money, and they still serve their purpose. So the fact that those things exist, it's good to foster the future. Get them while they're play school kids. Then when they go, let's say the Cyberverse or the Bumblebee movie line, have something that's simple that they could then transition to. And then, they'll be like, oh, man, I loved Repugnus as a kid. I loved him, when I was a kid in 2020. And then, down the line, there's going to be a Repugnus, whatever the next generation's line is, and people will make that connection. I see people posting all the time on Instagram, people who I know personally, who are not Transformer fans, very casual fans at best, but they're picking up the Beast Wars stuff, the Kingdom stuff, because they remember liking that in the 90s. They weren't Transformer fans, but they liked Cheetor, they liked Rat Trap, they liked Optimus Primal. So they're buying that one figure. I remember even, see down there, that's the Titanium line. I remember when Titaniums first came out, I had a friend that bought the Beast Wars Megatron 3-inch Titanium, which is right there. You can barely see him. He bought it just because he remembered growing up and loving Beast Wars. He's not even a Transformer fan, but he loved Beast Wars, and he loved Beast Wars Megatron. So it serves its purpose. If you could give someone that first little piece of plastic crack and it makes them addicted forever, it did its job. It did its job, because the amount of money that'll be made from the domino effect afterwards cannot be measured. Alice Trapp says, in Bionicle box stuff isn't too hard to find, but the high pricing is a bit obvious. Yeah. Well, again, in the case of Raduca, oh my God, she's a tough one. She's a tough one to get complete, that's for sure. And again, I got her for $1, so yay. We got another super chat question from Sam Dermody. I hope I said that right, Sam. Got Kingdom Megatron, Primal, Rat Trap, Air Razor, and Dinobot the other day. Paired with my animated Black Arachnia and Waspinator, I got a great little Beast Wars setup now. You didn't get Black Arachnia, though? I mean, animated Black Arachnia is still pretty cool, too. I love that mold. Great mold. Very tall, too. She'd be tall compared to the others, especially the way that old animated toys, how big they were back in the day. And animated Waspinator, he's also a big boy. I love that mold also. Man, if there was one more year of BotCon, I was going to get Wasp in that box set. Oh, man, if we had one more year of BotCon, maybe one day in the future, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's awesome, brother. Well, now, both of those characters, though, sooner or later, you'll be able to get the Kingdom versions. The Black Arachnia one's already out there, which, by the way, is a fantastic mold. As someone who owns the Masterpiece Black Arachnia, I was shocked what they did. They literally pulled it off in literally something that's like 1/10 of the price. And the Waspinator looks cool. I ate my words on that one. At first, I was questioning that Waspinator, but I think it looks great. But that's awesome, man. Thanks for the gold super chat, too. The gold super chat question. Thank you, Tom. Excuse me, Tom. Sam. Thank you. Where we at? Let's see. I think the WWF did that to win the Monday Night. No. They won the Monday Night Wars. Here's the thing. They bought out WCW in 2001, but they kept going with that demographic long after that. They didn't switch to like that PG era until like 2006, 2007, more than 10 years after they kicked off the Attitude Era. So they acknowledge it. They messed up. And they should have fostered a younger market to move into it. And they've had since then. You know, they created the PG era, new kids moved in, and everything's fine now. They're probably making more money than they've ever made, at least in terms of merchandising stuff. Granted, not as big as the Austin era, and probably the Hogan era too. There was a lot of money to be made. But, I mean, still pretty cool. Still pretty cool. And, I mean, good. You know, look, I always wish the best for wrestling. I never wanted to do bad, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of not for me right now. I like the nostalgic stuff they do here and there with my boy Bret Hart, but that's for a whole other story for a whole other kind of podcast. We got a super chat from Michael Koo, and Michael Koo wants to know, Proto Man, was the jet mode ever designed for G1 Megatron in the deleted scene of Heavy Metal War? What essentially Michael is referring to is in Heavy Metal War, there was rumors that there was going to be a jet mode for Megatron. No, you know what? I feel that rumor, where that came from, is it had something to do with all those little gun pieces that would combine to make like a turret mode for the Microman version of Megatron. And people have all, like, I mean, I don't want to... Is it in this one? Because I know I think it's in the deluxe version of this, but I know that there was old design stuff back in the day of Megatron and having all kinds of weird modes and stuff. I don't think it's in this one, though. No. It's in the deluxe version. The deluxe version had way more extra design stuff in it, which is a shame. But either way, great book, by the way. If you could get your hands on the deluxe edition, Generations Guidebook, still, in my opinion, the go-to for Transformer reference G1 stuff. But it was just a rumor. I've never seen any proof of that. Honestly, Michael, I don't know. Let's see. But thank you for the question, Michael. Thank you for the support, like always, Michael. You're an awesome dude. We got, again, Sam Dermody. I wish I knew how to pronounce it, Sam. Sam. Put the cube in my chest, Sam. You think Boulder might have been inspired by Bulkhead's ties with the Constructicons? Well, I just think it's just, there's so many, like, when you look at, like, it's like Bulkhead was a thing in animated. Actually, the trademark was a thing in Energon, but that's a whole other story. But Bulkhead was a thing in animated, and then you even look at Hound in the movie verse. I mean, that's totally channeling Bulkhead. You look at Boulder in Rescue Bots, and that's totally channeling Bulkhead. I think the only reason why they did a construction vehicle was, I think, because they wanted to have variety. They wanted to have some kind of a helicopter, a police car, a fire truck, and then some kind of, like, construction thing, because kids like construction stuff. You know, they were thinking, like, what will kids want to play with? You know, kids love playing with Tonka trucks and stuff like that. So it kind of makes sense. Oh, here we go. It's Dermadi. And by the way, it's nobody. Thank you anyways, my friend. You know what? My last name, forget about it. No one could pronounce my last name. So I'm totally used to that at this point. But yeah, I just think Boulder was just kind of like, just them kind of looking at demographics, but wanting to channel the Bulkhead character. I mean, in Cybertron, there's, you can barely see him, but there's this dude here. I forget his name. I know his Japanese name. But he also had like kind of a Bulkhead kind of design. He was green. He had the mouthpiece and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see what in the future, like maybe we'll see more Bulkhead-related characters. I always want more animated, man. I want more animated. You know, Hasbro did animated dirty. We need more animated. It kind of sucks. Crumple Zone, yeah. That was the name of that dude. That was Crumple Zone. Let's see. Started to watch RID 2015, and it's a lot of fun. You know what? It's a good series. but it also signifies when Hasbro started to cheap out on their mainline stuff that wasn't Generations or movie. Like, that's the one thing. Like, that first wave of toys was like, you started to see already, like, oh, less decos, more molded in colors, hollowed out areas. I mean, I think I did a review of Strong Arm, which, by the way, I love the character of Strong Arm. She was a unique female character. I dug her a lot. But when they released her toy, like, I opened up like her transformation of her chest, and she had like this empty gap for the Matrix, and I was like, wow, is that on purpose? No, that I should have known back then that that was just going to be, the future of Transformer toys, where we're just going to have like really hollowed out parts all over. So I should have known back then, but it was hard to know. But I mean, I like the line. I like that there was a lot of unique Decepticon characters. There was even a character that was like practically Polar Claw. Like, there was a lot of cool stuff going on with that line, that there's so many Decepticons that didn't get toys, which is such a shame. But I also feel like I think that it could have been better, though. Like, I think that the way that they handled it was much like Cyberverse. I don't think they got behind it. And even though the series went on and had the combiner, crash combiners and all that, all those cool gimmicks, and the mini cons and the little ball mini cons that were almost Bakugan in a lot of ways, there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool ideas, but I wish that they really stood behind it. And that's a big problem that I find with Hasbro right now, is I feel like they're kind of ignoring their mainline TV stuff and just focusing on Netflix and Generations. It shifted a lot. And in that interview that I posted, the one here with Yuya and Takashi, that I'll link in the replays, he mentions that too. He said, like, things really changed when the concept of the main line wasn't a TV show anymore. It was like the Generations, the classics, the chug, if you will. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. We got a super chat question from Soundboard, and Soundboard wants to know thoughts on the fact that the Prime 10-year anniversary came out while the universe is still going and could continue in the future. Well, here's the thing. I firmly believe that Transformers Prime was the series that Hasbro wanted when Animated was out. Because, like, Animated was created literally at the same time when they were finishing up creating the 2007 movie. The 2007 movie came out, and then Animated came out not long after that. 2007 movie made a ton of money, and then Animated had its fandom that was like, hey, we really love Animated, it's really good. And then the movie exploded, made tons of money, and then Hasbro's like, oh, damn, like, people like long-nosed truck Optimuses that look like that, and Bumblebees that turn into sports cars and stuff. Maybe we should do something like that. And that's why Animated kind of got pushed. They wanted Transformer Prime, and they stand behind Transformers Prime, and they love Transformers Prime. And with the 10th anniversary of Transformers Prime, I mean, we got, oh, no, it's not here, it's far away. We got that 10th anniversary figures, whether it be the 2-pack with Breakdown and the Viacon, or the Megatron, or we have all these Transformer Prime characters appearing in the RED line. Right now we have RC, but there's a scheduled knockout that's supposed to come. There's rumors that Megatron and Optimus are also going to be in the RED line. They love Transformers Prime. If you love Transformers Prime, you're still going to see more of that product in the future. You will. You will. There's a lot of Transformer Prime stuff still to come. Trust me on that. Animated, I love Animated, but I don't know, man. Hasbro's just be playing, man. They just be playing. But I could see them doing Transformer Prime product. Well, if the RED line continues into 2022, 23, 24, I could see them every so often seeding a wave with a Transformer Prime character. Like doing a Bumblebee, just have a Bumblebee in a wave assortment, or doing Bulkhead, or like have like Bulkhead with a Miko figure or some kind of crazy stuff. There's going to be some kind of evolution. If the line is doing well, I'll be honest with you, me personally, I have bought nothing of that line thus far. I was kind of tempted by the RC, but I've never seen it in person, and I'm not like going out of my way to order it online to pay extra with shipping and everything. Like the RC's the only one that kind of interests me. The Soundwave was kind of nice too, but I mean, I don't need another G1 Soundwave in my life, especially one that doesn't transform.